Guys, the reason I'm making this video is because I've checked out 300 books and I'm convinced that I'm turning into a different person. Here are 6 ways that books have changed me as a person, and maybe they can change you too. By the way, I only do nonfiction and am aware that not many people even care about nonfiction. Not only that, but I don't actually read. I just listen to audiobooks, but they can be so long. So in terms of imagination, I would like to add that actually reading fiction would light all of these 6 ways on fire. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sam and I want to make self-growth normal because people shouldn't have to look this information up. It should just be mainstream knowledge. If you agree, please make sure to smash that like button. The first way is observation. The way someone might write about a person's black hair, how wavy or straight it is, and how it's styled, whether it's slicked back or it's buzzed, or the color of their eyes. Maybe it's a crystal blue or like an autumnal brown. With books like this, over time, you begin to look at certain people and places with more of an appreciation for the details behind their appearance. Paying attention to what's around you leads to more elevated experience of sensations like the wind against your skin or the touch of another person. If a character that you're reading about is swimming, for example, the activity in the area of your brain responsible for your motor skills will make it feel as if you are swimming too. The second way that books can turn you into a different person is curiosity. When I was 17, I was at my worst, just so depressed. Like I always say, everyone has that one year of high school where the monkey poo hits the ceiling fan, right? I ended up in a kid's psych hospital. The place was understaffed, at times counterintuitive nightmare. But one day, my dad visited me, and he told me that he had a similar experience, but something that emotionally helped him get back on his feet was really looking at the world around him and just imagining the history behind what he saw. I could see why this sounds completely irrelevant to depression and kind of strange. He would look at like a big brick building and imagine all those sweaty days in and out with the construction workers building the walls up, putting the rafters up and gluing the plywood down and nailing it down, and the Durock and the bathrooms and the drywall and the plumbing and the electric, and the multiple visits from the inspectors and going back and forth with the city and the codes and blah blah blah. And all the work that went into it. It's so endless. Then you think of all the people who've gone into that building since it was finished. Let's say it was a mall. Think of all the people who went into every store and everything they were looking for, everything they bought, how much they spent, where they got the money from. When you read or listen to audiobooks, you get a much more multi-dimensional sense of the fact that there's a story behind everything. Literally everything. They really allow your imagination to run free, and that whole story I told you about with the building, that definitely represents what books have done for me when I look at the world around me. It's so much more than just a building. It's so much more than just a tree or a park or a house or a golf course or an ocean or a hotel or a bathroom or an animal, and I get curious too about what the history is. So learning more makes me want to learn more, and imagining, let alone finding out what it is, in my experience, it adds a lot of color and depth and consciousness to life. The third way that reading books can turn you into a different person is empathy. A growing body of research shows that reading improves connectivity in the brain function, so you'll find it easier to inhabit the experiences of different lives, different worlds, different times, different people, etc. Before I got into books, this is something I don't even know if I've admitted this before on my channel, and I have like 600 videos now. I had what I'm figuring out now are just super like toxic personality traits and habits. And I'm not talking about like traits and habits you would just never want anyone in your life to have. I'm talking about ones that I still can't believe were there in the first place. Like gaslighting, taking more than I gave, knowingly interrupting others, not listening, just straight up narcissism, manipulation, and as much as I genuinely hate to admit this, to a very small degree, they, from time to time, can kind of still be there. Nothing like before. In my experience, you can tell that you're changing when people just don't react to you the way they did before. Books just have to be the biggest reason for that, aside from applying what I learn in them. Something that's incredible about my girlfriend is that she knows when I'm deploying those habits better than I do. If I didn't know any better, I'd think she has superpowers or something. But I don't even think I'd really still have her without all the things I've learned over those years. There's just something about like stories in books that make it so much easier over time to put yourself in someone else's shoes. Because to understand what's going on in a story, you are required to see through the lens of someone else's worldview. Again, the type of book definitely makes a difference here, but nonfiction work about like listening, caring, belonging, vulnerability, history, equality, understanding what like healthy and unhealthy relationships look like, that all really gave me some insight into the consequences of making people feel one way instead of the other, and making them think things they'd rather not, and the like. On top of this, you'll also start to wonder like what you would have done yourself in X or Y situation, which can make you feel less alone and more like others have been there. If people in your life have labeled you selfish, narcissistic, insensitive, mean, not caring, not listening, inconsiderate, anything like that, you may be doing yourself a favor by checking out a book. And I hope that none of this really sounds like cocky or anything. These are just things that I'm starting to notice as a reflection of how people are treating me as a result of like over the time that I don't even know what I'm trying to say here. But I just hope that these don't sound cocky. I hope that you or other people you know have checked out a lot of books and could say the same thing, at least. It's definitely worth having a conversation with someone about if you know someone who's like a total bookworm. The fourth way is articulation. You will start to get better at verbally expressing yourself. I mean, think about it. You can't read well-articulated work without having it rub off in some form of skill development. Because like before, you are required to digest it and understand those articulations to understand what is going on in that chapter. Some people say that reading is the best way to improve your vocabulary as well. All of the context of stories, ideas, dialogues, and articles help you further navigate the English language with more ease, or whatever language you're reading in. The more you read, the more thoughts and words you'll be exposed to, and the more thoughts and words you are exposed to, the more of them you're given to process and assign meanings to, and the more of them you're given to process and assign meanings to, I'm sure you know where I'm going with this. The fifth way that books can change you as a person is humility. Books will sit you down and shut you up. They will remind you that there is something you can learn from anyone. Like, I used to think that like everything was falling apart, and I would only think that it's about like my life. The Population Reference Bureau in 2012, because I couldn't easily find a newer source for some reason, estimates that at least 107 billion people have lived on this earth. Our earth makes up about 0.0003% of the total mass of our solar system, which is just part of the 13.8 billion year old universe that holds it. If you think about it, you're kind of nothing. And with the help of your imagination, books will show you what's out there in a way that nothing else will. And it'll really just get you to sit down and think like what you aren't that you could be, which is pretty empowering in a way. The sixth way that books can change you as a person is storytelling. You will get better at storytelling. As an author, everything you need to be a polished writer and storyteller, it is projected onto your book. Everything you need to be a polished writer and storyteller is projected onto your books. Really, anything you want to start creating in your life, you can begin to grasp an understanding of by digesting and dissecting the type of work you want to create. For me, that's how it was with videos. Reading stories is going to help you establish a sense of relativity. Like, what is it that makes a good story? And then you'll start to pick up on your own like formula of descriptions, steps, setups, and how a well-told story all comes together and is told. So those are 6 ways that books can change you as a person. What do you guys think? Have books changed you? How have they changed you? Is there anything on this list that I was missing? Because there very well could be. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button, because I don't get why people watch this far into my videos and they don't subscribe. But if you have subscribed and you want to turn it up just a notch and turn on that notification bell to get a notification whenever I drop a new video, that would mean the world to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. You can find me everywhere, and I will see you then.